Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever felt that deep urge to just hit pause,
Oh, definitely.
to step back from the relentless demands, the endless striving for more,
Yeah.
the constant push and pull of life?
Yeah. That feeling is pretty universal, I think.
It really is. And today, we're taking a deep dive into a fascinating, maybe even a radical idea that speaks right to that feeling: quietism.
Quietism. It sounds
Mm.
so uh, quiet, simple even,
Mm.
but it's deceptively complex.
Exactly. It's not just some old religious thing. It's a term that crops up in philosophy, spirituality. Kind of unexpected places, actually.
Hmm.
So, our mission today is to explore its core ideas, look at its surprising history, and maybe figure out why it feels so relevant right now.
Right. We've got a stack of sources to dig into.
We do. And by the end, you should have a really clear sense of what quietism actually means, and importantly, what it doesn't.
Yeah, and why it might offer this sort of counterintuitive path to peace.
It's almost like a defiance of modern life, isn't it? This idea.
It really is.
Yeah.
In a world obsessed with more, with doing, quietism is like suggesting the real power might be in doing less, or maybe being less.
Yeah, being. That's a good word for it.
And what's really fascinating is how this core idea, this withdrawal or stillness, shows up so differently across various fields.
But with a common thread, right?
Exactly, a common thread running through philosophy, religion. It genuinely challenges our basic ideas about what it means to act or even just, to be.
That's a great way to frame it. So, okay, let's get to the heart of it. What is quietism, fundamentally?
Well, based on what we've looked at, it seems to boil down to this belief
Yeah.
that the best, maybe the wisest response to life's challenges isn't more action, more struggle.
But withdrawal,
Precisely, a deliberate withdrawal from active striving. Instead, you focus inward.
cultivating inner stillness, contemplation, acceptance, that kind of thing.
Exactly that. It suggests our usual way, active engagement, political, ethical, even spiritual works might actually be futile.
Or even counterproductive, like getting in the way of finding real peace or wisdom.
Yeah, that's the implication. It turns our usual assumptions upside down.
Okay, but here's where the nuance is critical. Like you said earlier, it's easy to hear withdrawal and think, oh, that's just giving up, despair.
Right. And that misses the point entirely. This isn't resignation in that sense.
It's more active than it sounds.
It's a very specific approach to peace. It's about letting go as a path towards something.
Towards a higher understanding. Or maybe just deeper tranquility.
Could be both.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not surrender to nothingness. It's a conscious internal shift in posture, redefining effort almost.
I think that distinction is crucial. It's not giving up, it's reorienting. Okay, so shifting gears a bit. What I found really mind-bending was the philosophical angle.
Ah, yes. Wittgenstein.
Right, because in philosophy, quietism isn't about meditation mats or anything. It's about rethinking what philosophy's purpose even is.
It gets quite meta.
Totally. Our sources point strongly to Ludwig Wittgenstein, especially his later work. When he moved away from pure logic and looked at how we actually use language day to day.
And all his messiness.
Exactly, it's messiness. He argued that loads of these big, persistent philosophical problems.
Like free will, the nature of reality, meaning itself.
Yeah, those huge questions we've wrestled with for centuries, he suggested they aren't really deep puzzles to be solved.
But more like illusions.
Kind of. Confusions, or bewitchments, he called them, created by language itself. Like, language is setting traps for us.
So philosophy's job isn't to build a better trap or escape it.
Nope. From this quietist view, philosophy's role is to dissolve the problems by carefully clarifying how we're using words, untangling the linguistic knots, showing where the confusion comes from.
Ah, so once the language trap is revealed.
The problem just vanishes. There's nothing left to solve. Philosophy then should kind of calm that urge to keep theorizing endlessly.
Instead of building more complex systems.
Right. And you see this idea pop up elsewhere, too, like with the ordinary language philosophers.
We meticulously examined everyday speech.
Yeah, showing how it shapes and sometimes messes up philosophical questions, and even some folks in metaethics today.
Arguing against needing rock-solid metaphysical foundations for morality.
Exactly. They see those foundational searches as maybe just more linguistic tangles.
That's a powerful idea.
Yeah.
Shifting philosophy from construction to, well, deconstruction almost.
Or maybe just tidying up.
Huh? Maybe. It suggests a certain intellectual humility, acknowledging the limits of language.
But does it go too far?
That's the question, isn't it? If the main goal is just dissolving problems, are we kneecapping human reason?
It limiting its potential.
Yeah. I mean, people often turn to philosophy for big answers, grand theories, not just to be told their question was, like, poorly phrased.
Right. It could make philosophy seem less ambitious, maybe reducing it to just linguistic therapy.
It's definitely a risk,
Yeah.
a potential downside to that approach.
It's certainly a more modest vision than, say, Plato or Kant had. But okay, let's switch tracks again. This whole idea of quietism also has this really potent and sometimes controversial history in religion, mystical traditions especially.
Ah, yes. Molinos and Christian Quietism in the 17th century. That's a major case study.
Absolutely. Miguel de Molinos, a Spanish mystic, his teachings were, well, pretty radical for the time.
He pushed this idea of interior passivity, didn't he?
He did, as the highest form of prayer. It meant this complete, total surrender of your own will, your desires, even your active efforts to be good or spiritual, just letting go entirely to God.
So things like rituals, sacraments, even trying hard to be virtuous.
He saw them as potentially unnecessary, maybe even distractions from this deeper, silent inner surrender, pure spiritual quiet.
And that, predictably, did not go down well with the establishment.
Not at all. That's where the heresy charge came in, right?
Exactly. The Catholic Church declared it heretical. Because if you promote this direct internal surrender,
You're bypassing the need for sacraments, for priests, for active good works.
precisely, all the things that were cornerstones of the Church's authority and theology, saying they weren't needed, or worse, were distractions. That was a direct challenge.
A huge challenge to the whole structure.
And it's fascinating, isn't it, how that same inner posture surrender can be embraced in one tradition, but condemned in another.
It really highlights the role of power structures and interpretation.
What counts as deep piety versus dangerous individualism really depends on who's defining it.
The stakes were incredibly high back then. But it's not just a Western thing, is it? This quietist impulse.
Not at all. Our sources definitely point to strong echoes in Eastern traditions.
Like Taoism, with Wu Wei.
Exactly. Often translated as effortless action or non-striving. It's about aligning with the natural flow, the Tao, rather than forcing things. Very quietist in spirit.
Or Buddhist meditation. The focus on letting go of attachment, desire, ego.
Right. Cultivating that inner calm and acceptance. While not identical to Molinos' quietism, these practices share that core impulse.
Finding peace by reducing striving, by surrendering to something bigger.
Yes. It really seems to speak to some kind of persistent human yearning, doesn't it?
This idea that peace doesn't always come from more effort, more stuff, more doing.
It just keeps popping up across cultures, across centuries.
Yeah.
Suggests a deep appeal to that idea of stepping back.
Okay, but naturally an idea this challenging, this radical, it's bound to have critics, and strong ones.
Oh, for sure. It raises some very practical, very serious concerns.
So what are the main pushbacks? Our sources flagged a few big ones.
Well, the most obvious is the passivity problem.
Right. The charge that quietism just encourages withdrawal from the world's problems, from suffering, injustice.
If everyone just focused inward, who would fight for change? What happens to progress?
Political reform, science, social justice movements, they all need active engagement, right? Striving.
A quietist world could look like stagnation. Or worse, indifference.
Which leads to the second point, the ethical risk.
If you reject active striving, does that mean you're indifferent to moral duties? To compassion? To helping others?
Like if I'm just letting go, am I off the hook if someone needs help? It gets complicated ethically.
Very. And then there's just the sheer practicality of it all.
Can you really live like this?
I mean, complete inner detachment. With jobs, families, communities. Life demands engagement, action. Is total quietism even realistic in a complex society?
It seems incredibly difficult, if not impossible, for most people.
These are powerful criticisms. They force us to think hard about that line between, say, personal peace and collective responsibility.
Can you truly find inner peace by disengaging from the world's messiness?
Or is there always a tension there? A balanced society needs to strike. It touches on the social contract, our roles.
It's almost the flip side of the philosophical quietism issue. Instead of dissolving intellectual problems, are we dissolving social responsibilities?
That's a stark way to put it, but yeah, the implications are huge.
Okay, so given these criticisms and the nuances, it's also easy to mix quietism up with other ideas that sound a bit similar.
Right. Drawing clear lines is important here.
Our sources help with that. Let's try to untangle a few. Like nihilism.
Okay. Nihilism says life is meaningless.
Yeah.
right? No inherent value or purpose
Well,
often leads to despair.
yeah, but quietism isn't saying life is meaningless. It's saying maybe stop worrying so much about imposing meaning through constant effort.
Just be still. Let meaning emerge differently, or maybe the frantic need for it just fades.
Exactly. It's a different relationship to meaning, not a denial of it. Okay, how about stoicism?
Stoicism. Similarities there for sure. Detachment, accepting what you can't change.
Focusing on inner responses, but the key difference.
Action. Stoics still believe in active duty, fulfilling your role, contributing to society.
Whereas quietists lean much more towards withdrawal from that external action. Big difference.
Huge. Okay, what about pessimism or antinatalism?
Those focus heavily on suffering, right?
Yeah.
Maybe even suggesting it's better not to exist.
Yeah, that life is fundamentally negative.
Quietism doesn't reject existence itself, it rejects the agitation within existence.
It seeks peace in life, not escape from life.
Good distinction. And lastly, mysticism.
Both can involve seeking union with something bigger, right? God, reality.
True, but classical mysticism often involves, like, intense ecstatic experiences, visions, fervent practices.
While religious quietism, especially the Molinos type, is more about calm surrender, a passive waiting, inner quiet without the pyrotechnics.
Yeah, less drama, more stillness.
Understanding these differences really is key. Quietism isn't just generic letting go.
It's a specific flavor, a particular way of being.
Exactly. Mistaking it for nihilism or even stoicism misses its unique character.
Yeah.
Like telling a calm lake in a still pond. They're identical.
They share stillness, but the context is different. Great analogy.
So the big question then, is this just some dusty old idea, or does it still speak to us now?
I think it absolutely does. Maybe more than ever, even if we don't use the name quietism.
How so? Where do you see it resonating?
Well, think about the explosion of mindfulness movements.
Good point. Being present, non-reactive, not striving for outcomes.
That feels very quietist in spirit, doesn't it? And what about minimalism? Slow living.
Yeah, people deliberately stepping back from the consumer rat race,
Yeah.
rejecting constant productivity demands.
It's not just about having fewer things. It's a conscious choice to reduce external striving, find value in less. That's a quietist reaction to modern pressure.
It really is. Seeking richness internally rather than externally.
And even back in philosophy, those debates about its role, dissolving versus solving.
Still ongoing. Echoes the Wittgenstein's quietist stance right there.
I mean, honestly, who hasn't felt that deep urge sometimes to just switch off the noise, the notifications, the grind, and just be?
Everyone feels that, I think.
Quietism kind of gives a philosophical name and framework to that very modern impulse.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like our hyper-connected, always-on world creates this almost primal need for its opposite, for stillness.
Even if we don't label it quietism.
Right. These ancient ideas just keep resurfacing, wearing contemporary clothes, because the underlying human yearning persists.
A yearning for tranquility in a world that feels, well, relentlessly demanding sometimes.
It provides a kind of philosophical grounding for that instinct many of us feel.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. Unpack it one last time.
Sounds good.
We've seen quietism is fundamentally about this deliberate withdrawal from striving.
Whether that's striving to build grand theories in philosophy,
Or striving through religious work, surrendering instead to divine will.
or just striving constantly in daily life, choosing tranquil detachment instead.
And crucially, it's not about giving up in despair. It's presented as a path, maybe a counterintuitive one, to a different kind of peace.
Peace through acceptance, through stillness.
Yeah. But that leaves us with a really powerful question, doesn't it?
It does. For all of us, I think.
In this world that screams for action, for achievement, for constant engagement, how much of quietism's focus on stillness, on non-striving?
How much is it a radical, maybe niche solution for personal well-being?
And how much is it actually a necessary counterbalance for our whole society, for our collective sanity even?
Where do you, listening now, draw that line? The line between vital, engaged action.
And the profound wisdom that might come from just letting go.
It's a challenge, really.
Mhm.
A challenge to how we define success, maybe even how we define happiness itself. Something to definitely keep thinking about.